Hi, I'm Trish. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday night. It is cold and rainy. My husband just got home from work and we are starving Marvin, ready to eat. Our groceries will not be here for another 3 hours. Like everybody in America, we're broke right now, so we had to wait for that Friday paycheck to hit before we could put our order in. But food is on the way, and I hadn't planned to do this video today, but I thought that it's important to show you the reality because we all struggle from time to time, and we can pull things together and make the best of it and make something kind of fun. So tonight, to get us through until our groceries come, I'm going to use my pantry staples, and I'm going to make cheddar bay biscuits with sausage gravy. Now, we don't eat real sausage, so my sausage is Morningstar Farms sausage patties. Don't get the maple, get the regular ones. And what I'm going to do is start my biscuits first, and while those are baking, I'll show you how to make the gravy out of the sausage. To make the biscuits, all you need is some flour, and you can see I don't have a whole lot left. We're going to measure that out. I measure about 1 heaping spoonful per serving. So I'm wanting to make 4 biscuits. There's 4. Then we have to have something to make the biscuits rise. So we're going to use a little bit of baking powder. About that much. And you want salt. I am a huge fan of having a little flavor in my food. So I'm going to put some salt in here. And it also helps the biscuits to rise a little bit. I'm going to use garlic powder. Notice I'm mixing all my dry ingredients first. I have parsley. This is not critical to the operation, so I'm going to show you in a minute why I have this. First, we're going to mix all of our dry ingredients. Then we're going to add just a little bit of water. You're going to make it like Play-Doh. Play-Doh is basically flour and salt and water, so it's like Play-Doh with a little bit of flavor to it. And the nice thing is you don't have to have a biscuit mix on hand. Pretty much everybody has flour, salt, and baking powder. And that's the critical part of this recipe. All the other stuff is just extra. So I've added about a 1/4 cup of water, and I've got this dough. Now, here's what we're going to do to make it really yummy. I've got some cheddar cheese. And if you don't eat cheese or you don't like cheese, leave it out. It doesn't have to be cheddar either. You can use whatever kind you like. This is our favorite. It makes everything taste so good, and I like the color of it. It's really not that much cheese. When we're mixing it all in, it's less than we would use if we were slicing it and putting it on sandwiches. So I have done some mental gymnastics to convince myself it's a little healthier that way. We know it isn't. It isn't really health food. We're making biscuits and gravy. Now, the secret to really good biscuits is to grate butter or some type of grease into your mix, into your dough. I use a really cold stick of butter and my cheese grater. And you want to make a nice layer on top of your bowl. However many servings that you're making for your family, you want to cover the top with butter, okay? Then, this is where the parsley comes into play. You don't have to use parsley, but I put a little bit on top because then when I mix it, I know that it's really well blended because I can see the green as opposed to the white and the yellow. So we'll mix this up. Now, with our biscuit dough mixed, it looks like this. We're going to take an ice cream scoop and we will scoop this out onto a baking sheet that we have some baking paper on. I don't know when baking paper was invented, but I love it. It just makes my life so much easier. Everything turns out better. It's pretty and it doesn't stick, and there's really very little cleanup. So this is something I don't consider to be a waste of money at all, ever. I am happy to buy baking paper. I'm hoping to get 4 biscuits out of this. And it looks like we measured that just about right. This gives us 4 biscuits. That's 1 for each of us tonight, and we can have it again in the morning for breakfast because it's really yummy. I am going to put this in my oven on 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now, to make the gravy, we're going to take our sausage patties and we're going to cut these up into tiny pieces. If you don't have vegetarian sausage, you can use real sausage. If you use hamburger, that's fine too. And the amounts don't matter. You just make as much as you think you're going to need. I tend to proportionate 1 biscuit and 1 sausage per serving. And so you can gauge based on what your family's appetites look like, how much you're going to need for yourself. For my husband and I, if I make 4 servings, then that gives us enough for dinner tonight and for breakfast in the morning. It's sometimes hard when it's really, really yummy to not go back for seconds. I'm going to put a green vegetable with this, and hopefully that'll fill our bellies and we won't be tempted to eat the other biscuit tonight. Okay, we're going to put these in the frying pan. I'm going to melt a little bit of butter and then I'll put this in the pan and I'll show you that step. We're going to set our pan on medium heat. Add a little bit of butter. I love cast iron. This is my preferred way to cook. Then we'll put our sausage in to brown a little bit. Now that our sausage is brown and kind of crispy, just the way I like it, I turn the heat way down and I'm going to add a little more butter. I'm now going to add a little bit of flour. If you don't have flour on hand, you can use cornstarch, or if you're gluten-free, you can use cornstarch. Not an exact amount, but I'm going to take the butter and move this around so I can kind of brown the flour a little bit. You want to work the flour into your meat. This step is optional, but if you feel like the meat doesn't have enough flavor on its own, you can add a little bit of vegetable seasoning or beef bouillon, depending on what you eat. Okay, we've turned the heat back up, and I actually want this to get quite warm. So this is on a medium-high setting. See how the flour is taking on a dark color? It's getting a little bit brown. That's perfect. Next, I'm going to take some water. That's kind of fun, isn't it? We're going to stir this around and it will thicken up and give us gravy. I don't want this to be real chunky. I want the meat to be really well blended with the liquid part of the gravy. Oh, it smells good. Now this next step is optional, but I wanted to clean out my fridge and use everything on hand before the new groceries arrive. So I took my nearly empty sour cream and I mixed some water in with it. And I'm going to add that. It looks a little dodgy, but it is delicious. We've used all the things that we had left over for the week. And we used flour that we had on hand. We used the sour cream. We needed to clean that out of the fridge. There was a little chunk of cheese. And in the time that it took me to make this gravy while you were watching, our biscuits have baked. So this is ready to be served. And I assure you, this is going to be a family favorite. If you're not already making this, you should put it in your rotation. I'll plate this. Here we go, biscuits and gravy. I've served mine with a side of carrots that are glazed. These are just canned carrots that I had on hand in the pantry. I microwaved a little bit of butter, some honey, cayenne, and onion powder to make the glaze. And I serve it separately. We tend to pull our biscuits apart and put it in the bowl of gravy, but you should do it your way. I hope you make this and I hope you love it. Bon appetit!